It's Nicole Markarian. Nicole, Nikole. Markarian is Markarian.
And do you mind also listing the phone number just because I need it?
Sure. 323-715-7446.
When did you guys start this business?
We started in May. It'll be 2 years. So we're a year. 2010. Yeah, May of 2010.
And when, like, sorry. So May 2010, right?
Yes. That's when we were up and running, but it took us about a year and a half before that. We were getting the idea started. We actually wanted to open a small restaurant in downtown LA, but because of the recession and all the startup fees, it was pretty much impossible. So we had been working on that for a while. We've been looking at places for a long time. So we really, in like the end of 2008 is when we started and had recipes down and stuff like that. But we actually got the truck up and running in May of 2010.
And what was the idea of the restaurant?
The same concept. I mean, the only difference would be we would have had art shows there and liquor. Other than that, it would have been the same thing.
And
Yeah.
would you say it's cheaper that you opened a food truck as opposed to a restaurant?
Definitely. The startup fees are a lot cheaper. I mean, we own our own truck. Most people don't own their trucks, but it's way cheaper than owning an actual place in downtown, especially in downtown LA.
And it's two of you then?
The two of us own it. Yeah, we're partners, so it's 50-50 partners on it.
And so can you just like take me more back in time, like what happened? Which like you guys were planning on opening a restaurant that didn't work out?
Yeah, I mean, we would go to places, we looked at them, and we just realized that it was way beyond our means. And so that's when the food truck thing kind of started. So we didn't realize that you can just get like an old truck and like a beat up truck and put stickers on it and make it pretty on the outside. What we ended up doing is starting from scratch. So we bought a truck that was completely empty and bought an entire kitchen. So it's a brand new kitchen inside. And that took almost a year to even get approved by the health department. It's a long process when you do it that way, instead of getting like an old like 80s truck or whatever that most people have. And we would just, the ideas, it kind of started over a drink one time as a joke, like, oh, we should open a place downtown. And then the more we talked about it, the more we liked it. I mean, I was working in healthcare, she's an artist, and we were just kind of tired of what we were doing and wanted to do something different. And we would just kind of go over sauces, and we would have friends over and have like sauce parties at the house and see what worked and what didn't work, and threw ideas around, and then it just kind of happened.
And how's it going now? Like, is it profitable?
It is. It's great. We're one of the only trucks that does Los Angeles and Orange County. Most trucks have one or the other because they are older trucks and they're grandfathered in. They can't do dual county. So we kind of bounce back and forth, which we love to do because we have a lot more options, I suppose. And it's creating a bigger following for us. So if we ever do actually open a place in LA or wherever we open it, we have a following. People kind of know who we are since we've already come to them. We're hoping that eventually they'll come to us.
Would you say the trend is kind of winding down? There was a huge food truck phenomenon like the past few years. Would you say like it's kind of winding down, or is it getting more popular?
It's both. I would say in Los Angeles, it's winding down a little bit. The food, and when it comes to festivals, and in Orange County, it's kind of staying the same. But now the IE is just starting. Now San Diego is just starting, so they're kind of where we were a couple years ago. But on top of that, the difference is things like people are having food trucks at their weddings now, and things that they didn't realize before. Other little like we do bar mitzvahs and weddings all the time.
You guys do?
We do, yeah. So things like food festivals are winding down, and to be quite honest, it kind of makes sense. Like why we pay a heavy fee to be there, and then people pay a fee to come in, and then they just wait in line all day for food. And we've done things where we have a 2.5 hour line, and I don't understand why anybody would wait 2.5 hours for fries, or for anything for that matter, because you're going to be disappointed. It's hot outside. So when it comes to food festivals, yes, it's winding down, but the other things it's becoming more popular because now that there's an awareness of food trucks, people are using them for different things, for parties, for house parties, for everything else.
All right, should we switch it up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was that awful?
So let's talk about fighting over Twitter.
Overturf. You know what it is it's kind of like with any job, I suppose. There's so many politics involved. So, or it's almost like high school in a way. There's, you know, this clique doesn't like that clique, and people who've been in it longer, like since we've been in it almost since the beginning, we're kind of like the seniors, and there's a lot of underclassmen and freshmen, and so we've all clicked up, and all the alliances have been built, and then, you know, we personally stay out of it, so I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but we stay out of all of it. But there's always, you know, this truck's gossiping about that truck, and they all, you know, this one has roaches, or that one's disgusting, this one always has, you get food poisoning off of it, or things like that. And we have we're friends with everybody for the most part. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like that, like people talking about people trying to build their alliances, so they want people not to like certain trucks. And then there's people that are known for sharking, which is there'll be an event or a festival that we've all paid to be at, and trucks will park outside, which makes everyone angry and messes things up for the culture as well, because they'll be parked in front of a restaurant. And most trucks have respect for restaurants and don't want to cause fights. And newer people or people who just don't care and they're, you know, they don't mind, will just say like, well, I'm legally allowed to park here for an hour, so they will. And that's what starts fights. But for the most part, we're not in any of them.
And what permits and policies have you had to follow in order to have a truck?
Well, because we're LA, Orange County, Long Beach, we have so many permits. It's different in each county. Like in Los Angeles, you get your health permit and then you get your Los Angeles business license, and there's only a handful of incorporated cities. But in Orange County, you have to get your health permit, and then every single city has their own permit for the city. Long Beach business license, and then Long Beach is a whole different entity in its own. So there's always another permit. There's always a heavy hand in your pocket. No matter where you go, somebody's making money off of you. You never just go anywhere for free. It's always a donation, 10% charge, $200 to be there. Like, you never just go make a lot of money and drive away. It doesn't happen.
And have you guys had any problems? I've read a little bit about regulations about not being close to any schools, like just because of health reasons.
It sounds like what's going on with that is it's after the schools are closed, and for the most part, we're more of an evening truck anyway, so we don't ever really, well, we're on the school grounds right now, but we don't really go on the lunch hour. We never do anything at this stage because we've been around for a while. We don't do anything uninvited anymore. Our schedule is pretty much made weeks before, you know, next week's schedule's done. We don't just show up and street vend. So anywhere we are, we've already had permission to be there, and if there's permits required, they've been drawn. If there's bathroom letters required, we already have them. So we don't just show up and vend at schools. Any schools that we go to are after 6 p.m. So
it's fundraisers.
And it's fundraisers, things like that, yeah. But that seems to be like a lunch issue. So we're not in it.
And how about like parking in front of restaurants and stuff? Is that an issue?
Not for us. We respect restaurants, and we never do that. Actually, one time we had a bar night that we were supposed to be at, and there was a restaurant nearby, and they had an issue with us, and we just chose to leave. It's because we're not trying to get a bad name for ourselves. So we respect that they were there first, and that they don't want people just coming in and taking business. So we never do that.
Can you say that again? We respect blah blah blah, and we never do that. When you say, instead of say do that, say never park in front of them.
Yeah, we respect the restaurants, and so we never park in front of them, just out of respect. I mean, they've been there longer than us. It's not our place to just show up in front of a restaurant and take business away.
Is it known to be like, is it an etiquette thing also?
For us, it is. It is. It just depends on who's behind the truck. I mean, for us, we don't show up next to a truck and park, or we don't just show up in front of a restaurant, because we'd rather have a good name for ourselves and have people talking about us and leave a bad taste in people's mouths. So we'd rather leave and not work that day.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.
So do you mind saying and spelling your first and last name and your phone number?
My name is Roxana Javadi, Roxana. My last name, Javadi, Javadi. My phone number is 626-281, wait, that's not even me, 626-757-4949. Oops. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they do. They do. It's subtle though, but I feel like we don't do that anymore because we're in the buddy system. Like we don't really park out on the street. And if we do, we make sure that we're not around restaurants. But if there's another similar truck, it's kind of not cool to, you know, hang around in the same area.
Can you tell me more about that?
What do you
Can
mean?
you tell me more about like fighting over like? Do you have a story that happened or like how does it? Have you heard of any stories that like people fight over? What happens? What's the culture?
The culture of food trucks? I don't know. I feel like I try to mentally stay out of that, but I don't like, because you're more involved in that kind of the politics of
Like how there was
lots.
so much truck etiquette before, and now people are, it's because there's so many trucks, people are doing sharking.
Yeah, that's true. The truck etiquette is what she was talking about, and I think because people are either super new to this and they've never really been in the restaurant business or whatever it is that they're doing, that they'll latch on. And so like we've been somewhere and whatever Twitter, you know, whatever, we're telling people where we're at publicly, and then sometimes people show up that weren't necessarily invited, and that's, you know, it's kind of rude. So that's kind of something to look out for. From our perspective, it's horrible. Like, why would you do that, you know? But the public doesn't really understand that. It's just
When you
another
say other people, you mean other trucks?
other trucks, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you repeat that again? Like say we advertise through Twitter, and then other trucks show up, and that's
Okay.
Like how we don't put our home on. Because we
Yeah.
say that
Okay. That's an example.
Because we all have like a mutual respect for each other. Now there's like a bunch of people that don't.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So basically, we've stopped putting. It's gossip. I'm like, great.
I mean, it's the news that I need to write about.
I know. Okay. Well, like dirty little secrets, right? We don't put our whole month up anymore because we've noticed that trucks that weren't necessarily invited to an event tend to show up, and so because we are public, we have to advertise publicly on Twitter, Facebook. It's kind of, we're out there, and so other people that are trying to figure out how to do this, or you know, they'll latch on to the event or you know, just show up uninvited, and we call it sharking. So sharking. Well, that's what that is. It's just, you know, showing up uninvited and trying to. Oh yeah. Well, like if there's a festival, we all pay to be in the festival. You know, it's understood. And sometimes people will park on the outsides of it, you know, in the unregulated area, and it kind of just makes everybody really uncomfortable. And they're not legally supposed to be there either, and you just kind of don't. Like one bad apple kind of, you know, sours it for us, but yeah. You can tell I'm uncomfortable talking about this because, like,
Well, the thing is, we see out of it.
yeah.
Like it's kind of like it's basically it's like high school. There's high school clinics. There's high school.
We'll come back to it once we're done.
Okay.
So what's a day in your life like? Like, you know, starting a day.
A crazy day. I like to say mi vida troca because it's pretty crazy. We wake up early, we prepare what we have to prepare, we get the truck ready, and we haven't even left already, and we're, you know, basically exhausted to go to our event. Drive maybe like an hour, 2 hours sometimes, and then while we're there, you know, we do the whole setup and hope that people line up.
And is it worth it?
It's fun. It's not easy. I think it takes a couple of active and really creative craziness for it to continue, and for us to be okay with it. I think we really try to make it fun.
And would you say it's easier than opening a restaurant? Are you happy that you guys?
I think this is a lot more adventurous. I don't imagine being in the same spot and it not being boring or just monotony of being in the same place, but I kind of like that. Sometimes we're by the beach, sometimes we'll be in the mountains. We've gone to San Diego, Valencia. I've never been to so many cities in California, in my own state, so that makes it fun, I think. But it's not, yeah, it's definitely not easy though.
Are you happy, or would you rather have opened a restaurant?
I think this was the best choice for us. Yeah, definitely I don't know that a restaurant we could have attracted so many people just standing still, you know? We sell fries. Who doesn't sell fries? But ours is specialty, you know?
All right, perfect. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.